Hello, everybody out there in the world. If you're joining us on Zoom, or if you're hanging out on RocketChat or Twitter, or where on earth you are these days, welcome. We're at season 3, episode 11. So I missed you last week because it was Thanksgiving in the U.S., a holiday that I'm not very fond of personally, because I think if you cook the food once a year, it's probably not your best work. And maybe that's, hey, Jonathan, what's up? Long time no see, my friend. Maybe that's controversial, but that's like my opinion, man. So I've got Rocky joining me for this penultimate episode of the season. So I don't want to take away too much from my guest. Rocky, let's just hop into it. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Rocky, where do you live?
I live in Little Rock, Arkansas right now.
Little
I just
Rock.
got here 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. So you just moved. Isn't that where Walmart's headquartered?
Oh, yeah, that is.
Okay, cool. What do you do for a living?
Well, currently, reason why I moved here is because I got a job as, this is not relevant to data science. I got a job as e-commerce specialist. And that's the only job I could find at that time. So I just got it.
Well, congratulations. I assume that's why you moved.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, and just because it's not related to data science doesn't mean it doesn't tie in. So
yeah, I'm interested in a lot. I'm interested in a lot of things. So yeah. E-commerce, I think it's something that I had experience with in college. So yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of optimization for e-commerce too. You got to do search engine optimization. You have to do all that stuff.
So. A lot of work. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to say that just because it doesn't say data science in the title doesn't mean it's not related.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? So 2 weeks. That's exciting. Where did you move from?
I went to New York from Mississippi. So it's another southern state. I moved to New York from Mississippi for 2 months. And I was trying to look for a job in New York and couldn't find one. So, but someone referred me this e-commerce job. That's why I took it. Yeah.
Hey, that's a tremendous difference in cost of living.
Oh, yeah.
So
a lot.
That's a paradigm shift for you, I'm sure. So you were looking for work already, but what compelled you to begin looking for work? I hope it wasn't like just a broad layoff because of COVID. Was it more specific?
Yeah, I got my MBA this May.
Okay.
So after that, it was obvious I had to look for a job. But before that, I started a fintech company similar to kind of what Numerai was doing, and was about looking for alternative data. And trying to sell those data, but it was really hard for me to do it. And I had a team of 4, and we didn't get a lot of traction for about 2 years. And that's
hey man,
that didn't take off. So
startups, what is it? 98% of all startups fail.
Yeah.
So let's just call it what it is, man. Good for you for trying, because you have major stones if you're willing to start a business on your own.
I'm still doing it. I'm still doing something on the side while holding a full-time job. And
I think we're all doing that, right?
Right. Yeah. My hope is that if my side hustle takes off, and then I can quit my job and pursue that in the long run. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I wish you the very best of luck. I do.
Thank you.
So what do you do for fun? Surely you don't just work.
I actually just work.
Another workaholic. No. Like you're like the 15th guest of mine that's like, well, I really like to work.
No, I think the important thing is that I do a variety of things, and I don't just do the technical work like building models and all that.
Right.
And I also create content based on those things I do. Whatever I do. And for example, recently I was really into social media automation using the new model created by OpenAI to generate natural language response.
Cool.
I'm trying to build a model that can answer Twitter comments, stuff like that, as if it were a person,
right?
In a natural manner. And I do that for fun. It's fun for me.
Right.
And
so I'm going to add you to the list of workaholics, but like seriously, you got to do something other than work. Is there sport? Is there movies, music? Come on.
And of course, I watch TV shows. And
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. What's on your list right now? What are you binging?
And Billions.
Billions. Yes. Great
pretty
show.
Good.
Okay.
And another one by HBO, Raised by Wolves. That one's pretty good, pretty
I haven't
deep.
seen that one yet. Is
Yeah,
that pretty new?
yeah, that's pretty new, and it's very
Okay.
very hard to understand. You have to like ponder
All right.
on the plot a lot. Yeah.
Maybe I'll check that out.
Hmm.
You make sure though that you've watched The Wire.
The Wire.
The Wire, that is a OG HBO show, probably
Okay.
one of their better ones.
All right.
It's
I'll
5 or
put it
6
on my list.
seasons. It's like one of those ones that you can get into pretty easily. Very, very good. So I digress. So you at least watch TV like most of us. That's good to know. But otherwise, you're a workaholic, definitely like the rest of us. On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you?
I would say I'm a 6, and I'm a unique person, but I don't seem that way. But I have I have all kinds of interests, and that most people probably don't find them interesting. I sometimes think about space, aliens, and also somehow watch YouTube videos on paranormal activities.
Okay.
Those stuff kind of interests me.
See, you should have talked about that stuff in the last question.
Oh yeah, but it's just random stuff. Sometimes I just watch.
Yeah, no, it's, I like to. I tell my girlfriend, look, I need to tickle my brain. I need to find something that's going to make me think or open my eyes to something new. So that's that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Rocky, what are you not very good at?
Definitely music. I'm not.
Me too.
I can't learn music. I tried.
I think I'm tone deaf.
Yeah, me too. I can't pick up the tones. Yeah.
It's and I also have a very difficult time listening to words in songs. So like there's this one song I was listening to in my workout playlist, and I swear it took me 8 months to figure out what one line was because I just couldn't figure it out. And I had to listen to everything else in the song to get the context to then understand what the heck she was saying. But this is like a story of my life.
Yeah.
God bless my girlfriend. She studied music. And so I
Oh.
embarrass the heck out of her when I start talking about music because I just don't know. Look,
Yeah.
I don't
Me
know.
neither.
At least I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I'm also. What about sport? You didn't mention sports. So I'm just gonna have to assume you're probably not very good at it.
Well, I do work out.
Hanson's like, oh.
I do work out. Like, I try to build. I mean, I tried to become a bodybuilder once.
Do you even hoist? What do you hoist, man?
What does that mean, hoist?
Hoist. Do you lift? What do you lift?
Oh yeah, I do lift. And
all right.
I grew up in China, so
okay.
and there's not a lot of instruments, stuff to work out with. But in high school, I did try to become a bodybuilder for like a year, and yeah, I was looking for all kinds of ways to get protein.
Got to get those gains.
Yeah,
cool.
And I at some point I thought WWE was real, and I was thinking about becoming a wrestler too. So,
I got you. It's okay. You know,
childhood dreams.
If you don't know, you don't know until you know, and that's fine. Yeah. No big deal. What's your best lift? Like, what's your favorite lift? What's one that you think you're really good at?
I do a bench press, but the problem with bench press is that
what do you lift, bro?
What's that?
What do you lift, bro?
Oh, bench press.
What do you lift, bro?
300 pounds.
Oh, he got me. Good job, man.
Yeah.
Congrats. Yeah, that's heavy, dude.
But
almost at 3 plates.
Yeah, I stopped doing that because I read somewhere that it's actually in the long term much more damaging to the joint. And yeah, I try to avoid doing that as much.
If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
Well, it would be learn math. It's good for you.
Learn math, it's good for you. Why would you put that on your billboard?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they always question, what's the point of learning math? You know, you don't really use it in a day-to-day life. But I think I was thinking about that question too. I think the important thing is not to use it, but to the act of trying to solve math problems creates makes your brain stronger. That creates a lot of foundations to pick up other skills in life. Yeah, that's why I think it's that message should be sent out there.
No, I agree. Like I teach the intro finance class to undergrads, and if you're a business major, you have to take this finance class. So I get marketing management, and it's interesting. I say, how many of you chose business because you didn't want to study math? And you'd be like a third of the room at least raises their hand. I don't like math, so I thought this was a good way to go. And I said, well, congratulations. You just chose a math major that's specialized for business math. Like that's what college is. You can't avoid it. And so I try to tell them, look, just embrace it. To your point, learn math. It's really important. Embrace math. Don't be afraid of it. Own it. Like own your fear, I guess is part of it. And I think that's probably what your billboard's getting at too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't really a computer science major. I was business major.
Yeah.
And
No, me too.
yeah, I tried to learn coding in college by myself. In the beginning, my goal was just to do something, just get it to work. But I realized that my progress was so slow because my foundation was so weak. And once I learned a lot of math concepts, particularly when it comes to data science, I learned those fundamental concepts and master them. And after that, I feel like my speed of learning has increased because
Awesome.
I got those foundations. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it all helps. And just doing the thing, like you said, do the math, think about the problem set, because sometimes you can recognize a problem or a solution right away just because it's familiar to you. The unknown isn't an unknown. It's something that you can solve, so it's good.
Yep.
So let's talk a bit about Numerai now that we've gotten to know you and that you lift things and put them down and that you're a medium level weird person. So when did you start participating in the tournament?
Well, I actually started doing Numerai around this time last year.
Okay.
And before that, I was at first I didn't know anything about Numerai. I was just trying to do Quantopian because whenever I searched, quant competition, that came out first.
Definitely.
At that time, not anymore. At that time, and so I was having trouble creating an algorithm that worked on Quantopian. I was like, I'm just gonna find something else to do, and I just Numerai came up, so I decided to do that.
Yeah, so many of the people I've talked to have a similar path. They either discovered it because they were trying to learn how to do machine learning and it just kind of popped up in their search, or from Quantopian. We have quite a few folks that came from that route. I did as well. Somebody posted about Numerai in the Quantopian forum, and I found Quantopian was too hard because I didn't know coding, and the cleaning of the data was too difficult at that stage of my learning.
Yeah, too much of a learning curve. You have to pick up their framework, and you have to like follow specific paradigms of coding. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it just worked for me, and so that's interesting that you followed a similar path. So that's how you found out about it too. What do you wish you had known when you started out? Because now you've started out in the Kushitsugi era, so now this is a really good question to ask.
I wish well, let me think about it for a second. So
sure, no problem.
So in the beginning, I tried to just copy other people's ideas and solutions, and it worked for a certain point, but it stopped working. And I think the important lesson is that just do something unique. Do something that of your own. Yeah, that's what I learned the most.
Try to break out. So you wish that you had known that some of these models that exist maybe aren't the best way to go about it. They're just a framework, perhaps. That a good way of summarizing what you said?
Yep.
I want to make sure I get it right. That's why I asked for clarification. Yeah. Okay. And now that you've been around a little while, what do you think is the number one reason people quit? Why don't they stick around?
Well, I think an obvious one that for a lot of people it might be too difficult, but also it might be too boring for some other people. And it's typically people have like a passion for 3 months. After that, they probably forget about that. And when I started this, I told myself I was going to do this for 2 years.
Nice.
And I didn't care how am I going to perform. The important thing is to follow the process, and that process says I have to do it for 2 years. And the reason why I say that, because I tend to, this is kind of like self-reflection. I tend to give up on things too soon, and before when if it became difficult or it became boring, I just like quit on it. Right now, I want to set up a very strong purpose in the beginning, and try not to care about the result too much, rather than the process. The process is that I have to do this for 2 years, and I don't care about how my rank is and everything. Yeah.
I like that, Rocky. That's really cool. I think that kind of relates to lifting weights, right? Because you don't have immediate results. It takes time. You have to
It
really
takes time.
dedicate to the long term for lifting. And
Hmm.
so anyway, that's interesting that showed up because I can see that as a trait among my friends who lift. You know, we tend to stick to things a little longer than some do. So that's really cool. What are your top 3 tips for the tournament now that you're a year in?
So I guess the first tip goes back to my lesson is try to do something unique.
Okay.
And out of 3,000 models competing right now, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of overlap there.
Oh, there's a tremendous
Yeah,
amount.
and try to do something unique. And I started out by doing something everybody else is doing, but then I try to customize the loss function, and and right now my loss function is kind of unique. Like just
You
and
don't
then
have to say anything more than that if you don't want to.
okay, yeah, yeah,
This is the part where you can say some but not all, kind of it's very
yeah.
general. Nobody's going to ask you what your parameters are, let's say.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second tip would be to keep iterating, and
Yep.
you don't get the perfect model at first, just keep experimenting. And the last one is if you're confident, try to put some skin in the game, stake it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yep. Throw down. I agree. That's good. So try to do something that's different. And that also goes to your purpose of learning, right?
Mhm.
So do something different because it'll make you a better coder, better at modeling, etc. And your second tip was I just that one I forgot because the third one
Uh,
was so good I remembered it.
keep
State.
experimenting, keep
Yeah.
iterating.
Oh yeah. Keep trying to improve. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. That's definitely important. Don't settle. I guess don't
Yeah,
settle. Always there's always something better. And it could be a regime change that helps you find that next thing. It doesn't
exactly.
necessarily have to be that the model itself is better. It's just in your search you come up and fit the new regime or something, and
Hmm.
then put skin in the game. Yeah, when
Yeah,
you have money on the line, you tend to take it more seriously.
yeah.
So
And I
that's
also want to add that I don't use compute to submit automatically every week because every Saturday I want to try to improve my model a little bit and then run the Google Code Lab and submit there.
okay.
That's the idea of trying to improve it every week. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure that that's a long enough history to really measure whether you've improved or not.
I mean, every week I might have some idea I want to try out. So
Yeah. We got 15 model spots that you can test out. So I would just encourage you, Rocky, to come up with like 15 different ideas and kill the weakest one each week if you
ah,
want that fast of an iterative cycle, right? So
all
you have
right.
these 15 candidates. What's my bottom ranked one? Kill
Hmm.
it. Now I can put a new thing in. How does it survive over the next X number of
Okay.
weeks? And I think the cream will float to the top, right? That will just naturally happen. And then you don't want to destroy models that are good,
Hmm.
right? But you do want to get rid of ones that aren't performant. And if you keep this cycle up, eventually you're going to kill your best model,
Ah,
what used to be your best. And you'll see that you'll constantly improve.
okay.
But I'd say just give it a little bit more time than that.
All right.
But that, what you're doing is fine. I mean, you still have another year at least. Hopefully by then, I see at the top of the board. So what's your number one feature request or improvement for the tournament? Now
Uh,
that all the teams here, they're like right around
okay.
you
Yeah.
on my screen.
Why did you remove the bonus?
What's that?
Why did you cancel the bonus? The
So
leaderboard bonus.
it's not an improvement. It's a question. Okay.
All
Anson's just laughing. So
right.
I
All
don't
right. Whatever.
I don't know if he's gonna. Yeah,
We
here he is. Yeah, go ahead.
we we like the way the payout system works right now. I think one really important thing, if you've been here a while, is like us talking about the symmetry of payouts. It's important for the upside and the downside to be exactly equal for our payout system to be safe. I think the reason why we removed it was because we found one guy basically attacking it, doing some three-dimensional P1 minus P attack. There's like a forum post on it, but
Whoa.
essentially when you have a higher upside than the potential downside and it's not symmetrical, you can just submit something that's very volatile and you'll earn more on the upside and then you'll lose less on the downside. So you'll just always make money. And that kind of just broke the system. And then we also realized with our current payout system, like, you know, the stake growth that we have, if you're just doing pretty well, 2% per week or something, is pretty good, you know? It's like
very good.
And 200%.
That makes sense now.
Yeah, we wanted people to kind of focus on improving their models instead of trying to, I don't know, get bonuses.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and to go further on Anson's point, it aligns the hedge fund with the users too, because they do well if we do well. And so that gives us the opportunity to optimize our own risk profiles, which in turns optimize the meta model. So, but hey, you know what? That was your chance to do what you wanted. So you wanted to ask a question, and you're lucky Anson took it. So your suggestion was actually just a chance for you to ask a question. Hey, man, you know what? I'll give it to you. That's pretty dope. Nobody's done that before, so good on you.
If you want a suggestion.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? He just opened the door. So do you have a tip or suggestion you want to make?
That was it.
All right.
Yeah.
Rocky's a fan of the bonus. All right. Hey, that's cool. Rocky, you've only been around a year, so I don't know how many of the team members you've had a chance to interact with, but who's your favorite?
Who is Slat Fox?
Anson.
Oh, okay. All right. I like him the most.
Nice.
He's on the community all the time, and always very quick to answer questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm gonna have to go through the videos and figure out who's leading right now. I think NJ probably still has the most votes, but Anson's. How about this one? You say you like to be unique. Where do you get new ideas for your models?
So initially, I use other people's models, and then I try to find improvements. And so what happened is that sometimes you have an idea. The idea often is not correct, but it's important to go through with it, because that might inspire you to on the path to find the right idea. I think that's how I find ideas. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. So what are you working on now?
So I work on again a lot of things. I try to implement some of Marcos Lupus de Prado's papers.
Okay.
And I'm looking at his paper on using topology to model capital flow, and I think that one's very interesting. And he didn't include that in his book, but that paper is very to me, I think it's a very interesting one. And besides that, I make YouTube videos on a topic that I like, and just, you know, I do things and I create content to talk about the things I do. So
to teach us to know. Right. So I think that helps a lot. How about this one? What advice would you give to someone who wants to become a data scientist?
Make sure you understand the fundamentals first and well, and because that will save you a lot of time. And what I found with a lot of I'm still a beginner. I don't presume to be an expert in this.
I think everybody here would say that, except JRB.
And a lot of people are so eager just to build a model and you know, get something done. But I think in the long term, to become really good at it, you have to understand, for example, exactly how does you know, stochastic descent works. What is it? You know, how does a backpropagation algorithm work? Stuff like that. If you understand it, I feel like your speed of learning will increase a lot. In the long run, it's actually a best strategy to slow down at first in order to be really fast in the long term.
If you could step into my shoes, what would you ask yourself that I haven't already?
I guess, what's your weakness?
Well, I asked you what you weren't very good at. So what's your weakness?
My weakness in terms of this whole thing is that I tend to get interested in so many things and spread myself too thin. That's my weakness.
Yeah. Well, imagine back in the day when you only had one model and you couldn't really ideate across a lot of things. That was an interesting time. Then we got 3, and then we got, then we got 10. Did we go straight from 3 to 10? I think it was 3 to 10. Now we have 15. So I think it's a little easier to experiment and try new stuff. And so that's been a nice change. Do you have any book or paper recommendations? You just mentioned Lopez de Prado's paper, but anything else?
Well, again, his book, Advances in Machine Learning. And I spent about 3 months reading that before participating in Numerai.
Okay.
So, and it was a pretty good book and very unique of
Deep.
its kind. Very deep.
It's
Yeah.
got a lot. You got to really think that one through.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Well, Rocky, thanks for coming on and hanging out with me today. If you'll stick around, though, I've got to take some Slido questions.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
And you don't have to answer it. So I saw that on Numerai, and it was kind of sponsored by Renaissance Technologies. And do you all have any insights in terms of how the fund works?
How
Like
RenTech works? Yeah, right, man.
Do you have any
Nobody does.
insight, like something that most people don't know about
Medallion fund. Let's dial them up and see what they'll say. No, nobody has any idea. They don't tell anybody. I think they're sworn under NDAs for that. That's the number one question of anybody who knows a little bit about finance is what in the world is going on behind the scenes there.
Okay.
I think we need to build the ultimate machine to answer the ultimate question, and I think the answer is going to be 42. I think that's what they would tell us. That's funny. I have no
42.
idea. I don't think Richard has any idea. And if he did, he probably would put all his money there because it's an unbelievable return stream going on at that fund.
You can read the man who solved the market.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah,
it doesn't give you any information though. It's kind of just like about the humans.
Yeah, but it gives you some general idea that they're using early on. They use mean reversion, some of the typical stuff that you can think of. Yeah, but I think it's not the strat. It's not those concepts. It's the specific patterns they discovered that are secretive. You know.
Yeah, and there's so much to hedge fund strategies. And we don't know the frequency they're trading. We don't know if it's market making algorithm. We don't know what in the world they're doing. It could be all of the things. For all we know, that it's buying and selling buildings, right? We just don't know. There's no liquidity in real estate, but still. I do want to just take a moment and address the fact that Jonathan is actually on the screen. I haven't seen Jonathan in months. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey.
How are you, sir?
Doing very well. I'm a big fan of Rocky's videos. Watched a couple of his videos. I saw these new models coming up with LinkedIn profiles and stuff, and I was excited to see who this Rocky Tiger guy was. I feel like you took the leaderboard by storm. I like it.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And your videos on LinkedIn, very cool. We watched them, me and Anson and Harsh were watching them together.
Did someone manage to reproduce the 2.8% validation mean example model results? I consistently get about 10 to 15% worse. So this is something that came up recently on Daily Scores and Chill. And we found out that the NumPy random seed is set at 0, but it is not set in XGBoost prior to the model run. So if you're going to try to replicate the example model, try that first. Set your random state for NumPy to 0 and see if that helps get you there. The second thing is we also don't know what version of XGBoost they're running or what kernel it is, et cetera, et cetera. And that could also give different results. But you're going to be really, really close. And until they maybe decide to give us the serialized model, we're just going to have to deal with what we get. So
sorry. So you're talking about example predictions?
Yeah. To be exactly this anonymous person is saying that they get close, but it's usually 10 to 15% worse in overall performance.
Interesting.
And I think that's just because of the random state not being set. So they're just having a different initialization. That's my hunch, based on what we talked about recently in Daily Scores.
Have you ever tried the Google AutoML?
I have not.
Yeah, I tried to run Numerai training data on it, and the best results it got is the validation score is like 1.9 something, but it says it utilizes all kinds of possible model combinations that you can possibly imagine using Google's massive compute power, and it costs $9 to run 1 hour or something like that.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I didn't even know they offered something like that, so that's new to me.
It's all automatic. You don't have to code anything. It just
you
upload the data, and then the AI or the cloud will pick the best suitable model for that data. Yeah. You also
have
check
no
it
idea.
out. I'm not
Yeah, I mean,
advertising
that's
for Google, but that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, we all use Google stuff, so it's kind of unavoidable these days. Here's another question from an anonymous person. Don't know who. Same one, different one. What are good diagnostics on Nomi? How comparable is it to Kushitsugi? Well, now that we're in the Nomi era, we have to consider the fact that we've also gained additional validation data. Some of those newer validation eras are more difficult. And so it's difficult to compare what we used to have to what we have now. If you recall, maybe you've seen Gienson's interview where he was talking about if you have a sharp above 1.3, he presumed that you were too overfit. I'm not going to throw a specific metric out there. I'm just going to suggest that look at the range of possibilities when you do upload in the diagnostics and try to be in the top tercile of scores if you can help it. So be above 75% in terms of the distribution that you're given. That at least helps you figure it out. But I would then prefer to do this. I would build the example model, generate predictions, and run it through the diagnostics notebook that I uploaded in my Twitch repo. And then do the same thing for yours and compare side by side. Which one has a worse drawdown? If the example predictions have a worse drawdown, then you are better. What is the median correlation? Is yours higher? You are better. So like things like that, you can actually compare side by side. But in the end, it's up to you to decide if you think it's worth staking on. And that's a personal decision. So you have 15 model spots to evaluate. So try a whole bunch of different ones until you've filled out all the spots and then evaluate over time. But I would definitely compare against the example predictions because up until maybe 9 months ago, the example predictions were in the top 30. And it was really hard to beat the example predictions. And now we're all consistently beating the example predictions. So that is no longer true. And I think that's a wonderful thing. But that just tells you, like, let's use this as the baseline to compare against. Am I better than the example predictions? Because they are pretty good, but we can do better. We know that we can do better. And so I think that's a good baseline to compare against. But as for actual scores and how comparable is it Kushitsugi, because of all the changes that have been made, I don't think we can really compare. We have more validation eras now. And yeah, didn't Numerai feature neutralize all models before using them in the meta model? If so, shouldn't we be scored and rewarded after full neutralization only? We talked a bit about this last time. That was 2 weeks ago. And I think that was also the time my power cut out or my internet cut out and I had to come in on phone. And that was something I wanted to talk about more intently. But thankfully, Slyfox took over and Wilgamuse picked up that talking point. But honestly, I don't remember if we clarified that issue. Anson, do you neutralize our predictions before you use them?
Only in signals. Well, okay, so Michael Oliver, please correct me if I'm wrong, but we only neutralize predictions in the signals models. For the classic tournament, we do not. We put it into the meta model first. Michael Oliver, is that true?
I kind of remember you saying that, and it was stake weighted, and that's why. Otherwise, if it wasn't stake weighted, then it might be neutralized. Yeah. And so the question then is, like, let's just presume that we were, then should we be scored and rewarded after the full neutralization? And so since we're not, the answer is no. We're also not scored and rewarded after. Now that I've kind of watched it a bit, I'm not sure that all of us being 100% neutralized would necessarily be good.
Right, but we do think that your feature neutral mean score is a valuable number, and we're planning to start showing that to you and maybe even be able to sort the leaderboard by feature neutral mean, make it something similar to like MMC is something we're recently talking about because we do think it's an important thing for the participants to think about.
Very interesting. I've been saying on daily scores that optimizing your feature neutralization proportion is very important, and I lean toward more feature neutrality than less. and I guess that seems consistent. If you're getting better stuff out of feature neutral predictions, and you want to show it to us, that's as much a signal as we're probably going to get from you guys as to what you prefer to see anyway. I think if people staked less on clones of the example model, then feature neutrality would perform better. But we're not seeing that, I think, because when example model like predictions do well, it's hard to have a feature neutral model go against it and also do well. That's very difficult. So that's my working hypothesis, at least.
Yeah, but all things being equal, like having a higher feature neutral mean is pretty much always a good thing.
It sounds like it to me, because that's exactly right. It means you're picking up some signal that is not in the linear features. So cool stuff. Yeah, I like it. And I think overall, I've seen the meta model correlation move quite a bit. So I think that there's a lot of shifts going on among the stakers. And I think that's been better. I mean, you guys would know, we don't have any idea, but I'd like to think the meta model has been doing better over the past, say, 10 weeks than it has in any time of its past.
It's been getting better and better. So great job, guys.
Hey, I'll take it. It's about all you need to say. Thanks. When binary uploads instead of CSV to reduce network traffic and save the planet. What do they mean? Like a JSON file or something?
You mean like upload the model binary, or like a binary file format for the file?
See, that I don't know.
More file formats are coming. We recently hired a new engineer who is going to basically just work on this idea of like improving our data API.
Cool. GRB saying it's probably Parquet or Feather.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's coming. Mike P's on it. He's speccing that entire project out right now.
Neat. This is one I like. Anonymous. Any plans for a multiplier or slider on MMC staking? And if so, is there ETA?
It's
when
coming
2x?
We're working on it right now.
Ooh. Yes.
When is it coming? I don't know. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks.
Whoa, that's way sooner than I thought. That makes me really excited, especially for my 3 models in the top 10. They're doing pretty good on MMC.
Yeah.
Big fan.
It's gonna be huge.
I agree. Can you tell me more? Like what kind of multiplier? Only 2x? What about 1000x?
Not 1,000.
Not possible. Not possible.
Yeah.
Although I would like it. Some of my models kill it. So.
Yeah. I believe it is only going to be 1.5. Let me just quickly read this real quick. Michael,
I thought it was 0.5 and 2. I thought is what
it's
0.5 and 2. Yeah.
So you can go a little lower, or you can go for it. Got it. I like it.
0.5 is called the Wiggle Muse. The Wiggle Muse bet.
The Wiggle Muse. Hey, on the 2x, are we still capped overall at 25%? So Core Plus MMC, even if it's a 2x at 25%?
Yeah.
Because I would imagine the risk of ruin being the 4-week window, you still could only arrive at 0, not negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just I figured that was the case. I just wanted to ask anyway. So cool. Hey, that's really neat. So that's like a week or 2 out. Could maybe a staking modality change be a week or 2 out?
I don't know. Harsh.
I think so. I think we're first doing visual design changes. They'll probably be out next week.
Oh, we're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting close with that.
Oh, that's exciting. When update signals validation set? I don't know anything about this, so I can't.
Not soon. Not
soon.
Not on immediate roadmap.
No. Definitely, we want the staking modality first, and the multiplier second. OnPoint wants to know, of the people on screen, how many languages can you speak? Anybody bilingual, multilingual?
I speak Chinese and English.
2.
I speak 2 types of Chinese and English.
Cool.
Same. I speak Hindi and dialects, not English.
Cool.
I speak Afrikaans and English.
Afrikaans. Nice. I think Michael Oliver and I are just going to think that y'all are really cool. Yep. Y'all are awesome people. I don't have that.
They say you don't really know a language until you speak another language, until you learn another language.
I believe that.
It's true.
On Point also says he's a fellow business major and he shifts more and more toward, as I shift more and more towards, I think data science, maybe I start to see the importance of math a lot more. Shift more towards analytics, sees the importance of math. Jeremy claims he's a beginner when I call him that he was a pro. Wigglemuse says he saw an interesting paper yesterday. He was going to bring it up, but then it realized that it was actually JRB's tweet. And that pointed to the paper which he was going to read anyway. JRB is our resident idea generator, and we thank him for that.
Rocky, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What was the moment in your journey, Numerai journey, where you realized that it was like the aha moment when you realized, okay, I want to spend time like working on this. This is actually interesting.
When I saw it on your website, it says the world's most profitable competition.
Okay. Found the capitalist.
Yep.
Found him. He's right there.
I mean, that's a good incentive right there. So, but originally my idea was that just to try out things to make my resume look better, because I was planning on, I was still in MBA at that time. I was like thinking 6 months later, trying to get a job. I was like, okay, let me add something to it. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm all about that. I tell my students the same thing, diversify, have something to add. Wigglemuse wants to know, how many models do you have, Rocky, and what are your model names?
I only have two.
Two models.
I only have two models. And one of them is called Tiger Stone. The other one is Rocky Shoot. Yeah, I have two. Yeah.
Cool.
Tiger Stone is like number 10 right now, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that sounded familiar, but I didn't want to tab over and miss something. So now I'm going to look. Now I have to know. Yep, there it is. Number 10, Tiger_Stone. Mm-hmm. Let's take a peek, shall we? Haha. Hey, let's see here. Yeah, you've done a lot of changes. So the way I can usually look at a model and tell that you've done a lot of changes is that your correlation with the meta model bounces around a lot. So for instance, in round 217, you're at about 46%. And then 219, it's almost 80%. Definitely a model change. Like it could be nothing else because it's relatively stable if it's the same model every time. And also, you were uncommitted to MMC staking like I was for a spell where you were doing it. And then you're like, I'm not really sure about this whole thing. Turned it off. And now you're back on MMC. Are you doing feature neutralization?
No. So
okay. Interesting.
My general approach is that it's almost every week it trains a new model. It's like it completely forgets, completely starts brand new every week, and it trains a brand new model and submit predictions. So
okay. Well, hey, that's interesting that you have something that is in the top 10 but is not stable. Personally, I have not had that experience. Like I
don't know. I may change my approach again. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, it looks pretty good.
Training on the latest features? The live features?
Say that again.
Are you training on the live features?
Yeah, I'm training on the validation set too. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, you don't have to say anything really, Rocky. You can just say yes, as a general catch-all. But what if you're willing to help people? That's also pretty dope. We like that. But you ranked 10, so you're doing something right. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Hey, Michael Oliver, what happened to Krat? I'm very curious now that I think about it.
I was about to ask the same. Like Krat was like the number one,
killing it
for a long time. Yeah.
It just adios amigo.
I mean, yeah, for a while. I mean, it's a pretty safe model, and it's not really having negative scores. But we're in a less safe period where things are easier.
I just wonder, though, Michael Oliver, if you got punished a little bit because you did disclose to us that you were training on Nomi while still being evaluated on Kushitsugi, and it was more difficult, as you said, and perhaps you missed out on a bit more performance resulting from that.
It was trained on the original model was trained on Kushitsugi, and the CRAT model has changed a little bit, but it's still the same style. It's actually an average of like 2 different models. Basically, one where I continued training on Nomi, basically started with the same weights and trained a little bit more, and then retrained another one completely from scratch, and it's the average of those 2 now. But it's the same sort of style of model, a bunch of orthogonal neural networks.
Wild stuff, man.
It's valid. I mean, its metrics look pretty good.
That's neural networks that you're using?
Yeah, that's neural networks.
Or mine too.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a very, I mean, like the round where it's negative 237 is negative by like 0.005. So
Yeah, no, it's
pretty safe.
That's
model.
pretty neutral. I'd be quite fine with that as well. So we only have a couple minutes left, so I wanted to save this to the very, very end. What the heck happened yesterday?
I want to know.
Basically, we had a mix-up where our data
That's why I waited to the end.
we had some mix-up with a data provider, and let's just say they didn't give us the data yesterday, so we had to like talk to them and make them give us the data.
Please give us the data, please.
And yeah, it just took a little bit longer than we expected. But we actually, late last night, me and Michael Oliver and a bunch of us, we just decided to like, that part of the pipeline didn't actually block the tournament that much, so we kind of just worked around it. But yeah.
Today's scores were super fast. It was the fastest Thursday I can remember in months and months. So if you did something and that introduces stability, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think one goal I have for 2021 is for us to never miss a day of scoring. Never be late in any single round and never miss a day of scoring. That'd be great.
Ooh, man. Let's start the clock. Let's see if we can get ahead of that. We got a couple weeks left. No, it was cool. You know, like the meme quality was amazing. Amazing memes as a result of being late. Michael Oliver pointed that out, and I totally agree. There's some fire memes came out of that whole delay, and you could also see how degenerate we all are waiting for these daily scores.
Yeah,
and so that was cool. And yeah, Michael Oliver, perhaps maybe I can ask you this, like, some people are just destroying the tournament over the past like 8 weeks. Like I'm talking like 8-10% returns. Surely that's anomalous, or are we just that much better?
I mean, I think it's probably anomalous. I mean, there's always mean reversion.
Oh yeah. The reason I say that is because I don't want my Twitch fans to think that this is an easy tournament.
Yeah,
We have a lot of newbies coming in, and they've only seen, I have 20 weeks in a row of no burns. Like that is, I don't believe it. Like,
yeah.
We've come a long way, Arbitrage.
What's that?
We've come a long way.
I still don't believe it. I'm just like, I just want people to know that this is still extremely difficult, even if we're in a good time or what have you, that the market giveth, the market taketh. Okay. And it On Point says it is the hardest data science tournament on the planet after all. And I do want to remind everybody that is 100% still the case. And maybe reading the tea leaves a little bit lately, many of us have been. And so I just wanted to have somebody from the team kind of.
But yeah, people are getting better. Like one of the big changes we've seen is people's models are on average much more feature neutral than they used to be.
I think that's good, and I hope to think that that's part of me talking about it every day for the past, I guess, 6 or 7 weeks, and showing people how to do it, and then submitting some examples and let them try it out. So I hope that's translating back to performance. If it's better for the meta model, I think as more people do that, everybody's MMC will turn around too, because then we're only really submitting unique stuff. Because it's linearity that causes us all to have lower MMC, because they're all the same. It exists in all of our predictions. GRB did suggest something I thought was interesting yesterday. He said to build a model such that it performs very well at 100% neutralization. And that would go to your point of having a high feature neutral mean. So I'm going to chew on that. Usually when GRB makes me think on something, I chew on it. Something good comes out of it. So hopefully that's the case this time too. But that's GRB's latest thought bomb that he dropped on all of us. And I'd like to pass that on. Part of what makes it hard is it sometimes sets you up to be sucker punched, says Wiggle Muse. Yeah.
I think that's especially true if you feature neutralize after you've built your model. But I think what JRB is suggesting is if in the training of your model, you're enforcing feature neutralization so that the model is learning to be good in a feature neutral way, you're much less likely to be sucker punched. And
yep,
I think that's the way to think about it.
I agree. I agree. All right, we're going to let the team go. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Bye.